Alrighty. Well, hello. My name is Jaden Kramer. Sorry, losing my voice. Um, but so I was assigned to specific phobias. Um, so let's continue. I kind of just put a content page so you knew what we were about to talk about. I do want to go over the classification, which is basically just the definition of it. What causes phobias? What kind of mechanisms there are for it, the diagnosis, treatments, and the misconceptions over it. So let's continue. Classification for it, my definition basically, because this really does explain kind of all of it. Honestly, to me, this explains like how people's thoughts and feelings are about their phobias or about phobias in general, along with the definition of it. So I thought this was kind of perfect. But basically, it is the excessive, extreme, irrational fear or panic reaction about a situation, living creature, place, or an object. So for my next slide, I decided to list some of the phobias, some of the most popular phobias. So you might have to bear with me on pronouncing them because they're kind of interesting. But so arachnophobia is the fear of spiders. That was the most well-known one that I had seen when I was doing my research. And the other one is the arachophobia, which is the fear of heights, which is actually something that I have developed, which I can go back over. But the social phobia, which is the fear of social interactions, and my fourth one I chose was claustrophobia, the fear of confined spaces or places. Acrophobia is very common. Actually, my mom has it, which is where we'll kind of get into it later, but I think that's how I developed it, because my mom has it, and I never had this fear, probably up until the last year or two. And I think I was just not really sure if it was a fear or not yet, because it was just sometimes I got really uncomfortable, but then I would still put myself in those situations. So originally I did want to focus more on specific phobias than just in general, but honestly I found a lot of research, a decent amount of research that just kind of went over phobias in general, and I thought that was kind of more interesting. So on to the causes. First one being genetics. So like I was saying about me and my mom, because my dad does not have it. My dad is very much like adrenaline junkie, but my mom, however, she gets things like she's very seasick, and she, has the fear of heights really bad, and my mom's claustrophobic, and all these things. And so one of them that I now share is the fear of heights. Also, your environmental factors are actually a really big deal when it comes to phobias. And that's really where phobias come from. So for me with my heights, for example, I have this fear of heights because I have a fear of hurting myself, and I think that's kind of how that also developed, is because I'm also, my biggest fear is death. And so, even though those are also other phobias, they also contribute into my whole why I'm scared of heights now. And so I did put examples, almost drowning, or an insect bite. So a lot of people who are scared of spiders, maybe it's because they've seen a spider bite or they've been bitten by one before. And obviously something that's probably not so life-threatening, but, regardless, because of that, now they're scared of spiders, or now they're scared of, my cousin is scared of butterflies. That's her phobia. I don't know the exact term for it, but there's that. My godfather, actually, which was really weird, coincidentally, he passed away from drowning. Well, technically, in a sense, he passed out underwater and drowned, but not that anybody wants to know that. But still, his phobia was drowning. And that could be caused because maybe he's almost drowned before, or maybe when he was a child, he just like was not a good swimmer, and that could definitely be the case. Children also who have a close relative with an anxiety disorder are at risk of developing a phobia as well. So yeah, if you and your family have, like my mom, she has really high anxiety all the time, and I never really had anxiety growing up, and then honestly also around the time that my phobia started, I also started to develop a anxiety, and that anxiety came with having bigger fears about like heights and stuff like that, and those are things I never worried about when I was younger. So interesting stuff. Okay, so the mechanism on here, the amygdala, I swear I know how to pronounce it some days, and other days I can't think of it. But here, we'll even play it for you. Amygdala. Okay, yeah, so pronounced it wrong. Anyways, the amygdala is responsible for the emotional reactions that do create phobias, actually, and that's kind of where chemically or science-wise, where phobias do come from. And I thought that was really interesting to share, honestly, because I do find it intriguing to, I wonder, especially with psychology, what part of your brain is triggering that, what makes you feel this way, or where did this even come from? But the amygdala does process your fear and threatening stimuli, like we went over a couple chapters ago, and so yeah, it is fully responsible for your phobias, because your phobias come from your emotions, basically. So all right, diagnosis. Okay, so interesting enough, diagnoses aren't really a thing. I don't know, they are, but they aren't. You pretty much just know if you have one for the most part. So phobias are not always formally diagnosed. Most people are fully aware of the problem when having a phobia, and a person will sometimes choose to live with a phobia, taking great care to avoid the object or situation they're afraid of. So like I said, you pretty much just know if you have a phobia or not. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, if you have anxiety or fear about something all the time, or something makes you very uncomfortable or whatever, I mean, the exact definition, right, of what I went over really does explain the feelings and the emotions of it all. So there is that. The treatments are exposure therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy. There are medications. There are hypnotherapy, and systematic desensitization. I will say, for systematic desensitization, it's kind of like that video that we watched where that guy basically kind of not tortures the baby, but he puts these things around the baby and trains the baby to basically create a fear of dogs. If a dog comes near the baby started crying and whatnot. So that's kind of how systematic desensitization works, but in the sense that it gets you to get over it. They kind of just put you in the same situation over and over and over again. Kind of thing. Also with exposure therapy is kind of the same, where it's they create a safe environment for you, to which they expose you to the things that you fear, and they just do it over and over again to help you get over it. Let's see, my cognitive behavioral therapy. Also, yeah, I didn't put a lot on the slides because I thought it was more important to actually talk about stuff rather than just read crap off the screen for you. because really, I feel like this should just be a bullet point. But okay, so basically cognitive behavioral therapy is kind of where they just like change your way of thinking about stuff. So kind of like reversing your thoughts about it pretty much. Sorry, I'm getting antsy because now I know that I don't have that much time left. But anyways, so basically you pretty much just understand like why you have that fear, and you kind of just work over it and change your thoughts about it, which is also another thing that we've been over in class. So yes, hypnotherapy is literally where they hypnotize you into thinking, like, stop being scared of this. And it doesn't always work in one session. Like a lot of times, hypnotherapy, actually, you do have to take a lot of time to work through it. So there is that. Okay. So last thing before my time is up is medications. Honestly, there are a lot of random like pills, but they pretty much just block any type of adrenaline, because when you have anxiety and stuff like that, you get adrenaline, and that is what they do. Misconceptions before I run out of time. Phobias are just part of someone's personality, and phobias are just overrated fears. Which is kind of crazy that people, and my works cited page too, you guys know where I got my stuff from. But yeah, really, the misconceptions of it all is really crazy, actually, if you think about it, because you feel like they're overrated fears, but at the same time, like, you can't help the way that you feel. And like saying that a phobia is part of somebody's personality is kind of crazy, and also kind of messed up if you think about it, because it's all based off of your emotions. So I did go a little bit over time, but I feel like I had a lot to share just now. But yeah, just know that if you do have a phobia, you totally understand, and if you don't, personally, they're not very overrated, and they could really be controlling over your mind, and could stop you from doing a lot of things in life. Maybe like it's kind of like crippling anxiety if you think about it. So yeah, well, that's all I have for you. So thank you so much for watching and listening, and I hope that I gave you a better understanding about specific phobias. So thanks.